Okay, Chodesh Tov, everyone. Welcome. Hope all is well, and we should have a ability to be able to be closer to Hashem in this El more than ever, because we really, really need Mashiach. Okay, so it says in this week's Parsha, in the Sedra, it says there's a Parsha within the Sedra about a Melech Yisro, to appoint a Melech, anoint a Melech actually, to be the Melech of Klal Yisrael. So the pasuk starts. It says, "Ki savo el haaretz asher Hashem Elokecha nosen lech v'yishavta ba v'amarta v'asima alai melech kechol hagoyim asher sbivosai." When you come to the land, Moshe was talking in the name of Hashem. When you come to the land that Hashem your God is giving you, and you will inherit it, and you will dwell in it, and then you will say, I should put on myself a king just like the non-Jews all around us have. So the next pasuk goes on, Som tasim alecha melech asher yivcha Hashem Elokecha. You should put a king upon you, from which Hashem chose. So it's going to be through a prophecy that Hashem chose that you're going to have this king. And it says, Asher Yivchar Hashem Elokecha bo, that Hashem chose him. Mikerev achecha, from within your brethren. Tasim alecha melech, you should put on yourselves a king. Lo suchal latet alecha ish nachri asher lo achicha hu. You're not able to, it doesn't say you're not allowed to, it says you're not able to put upon you a non-Jewish king that is not your brother. Interestingly, the Baal HaTurim says that this very interesting thing. He says that if you look at the words mikerev achecha is the same exact gematria, numerical value, as mishevet Yehuda. So the pasuk is telling us, by the way, that it's not just any one of your brothers, it has to be from the tribe of Yehuda. Okay, then it goes on to say, rak, only. Lo yarbe lo susim, he shouldn't have a lot of horses. Lo yashiv asa'am Mitzrayim, he shouldn't bring the nation back to Mitzrayim, to Egypt. Laman harbos sus, in order to get more horses, because we know there's a lot of horses there in Egypt. It's a good breeding for horses, I guess. Hashem amar lachem lo sefin lo shuv b'derech hazeh od, because Hashem said to you in plural that you're not going to go back to this way again. The next pasuk goes on to say, "V'lo yarba lo nashim, v'lo yasir levavo, v'chesav v'azav, v'lo yarba lo ma'od." You shouldn't have this king should not have a lot of wives, and he shouldn't turn his heart away from where it's supposed to be, and he shouldn't have a lot of silver, too much silver and gold. Okay, it's all relative for a king, obviously. And then in pasuk Yuches, and it will be when he sits on the throne of his kingdom, and he will write for him this Mishneh Torah, this doubling. There's two different explanations, but the main one, the Pshat, is that he's writing again two different Sifrei Torah, Al Sefer Milifnei HaKohanim V'Levim, in front of, in a book, in a scroll, in front of the Kohanim and the Levim. V'haisa imo, and this Sefer will be with him, this Torah will be with him. V'kara vo, kol yimei chayav, and he should read it within it all the days of his life. L'man yilmad liyiras Hashem Elokav, in order that he should learn to fear and to have awe and to be aware of Hashem, his God. Lishmor is called divrei Torah zos, to be able to keep, to watch and guard all these words of the Torah, meaning all the mitzvos, and all the laws, that in order to do them. And the last pasuk of this parsha in the Sedra of Shoftim, it says, "Levilti rum levavo," so that his heart shouldn't be high and feel like the lack of humility and being so, feeling like he's so special. Me'achav more than his brother. Lefilti sur min mitzvah yaminu smol, and in order that he shouldn't go from the mitzvah either right or left. It's exactly what the Torah tells us. L'man yarich yamim al mamlachto, in order that he should have along many days on his kingdom. Hu uvanav b'kerev Yisrael, he and his children amongst Yisrael, and that's the parsha of Som Tasim Alecha Melech within Sidras Shoftim. Okay, so Nasiv Shalom says, it says Lo Yarba Lo Noshim. He goes on to say that there's actually two different parts over here, because if you look in the beginning, it says he shouldn't have a lot of horses, he shouldn't have a lot of wives, he shouldn't have a lot of money or too much money, right? So, and then it says he should write. So he's saying the Nasiv Shalom, the son of Rebbe, says that what we have over here is actually the concept of sur meira va'aseh tov, that a person, we know that a person has to go away from bad and va'aseh tov, and do good. So in the beginning, the Torah talks about the sur meira because that is the best way, if it can be done that way. That is the best way that we should first get the bad out from within us, and then from there we should be able to do good in a much holier and better way. So the Torah starts by saying the three things that he cannot do, right? About the horses, about also about bringing the nation back to Mitzrayim, and the second or third thing, depending on how you're counting them, the women, and also the last thing is about the money, the gold and silver. So then it says about the second part, which is aseh tov, doing good. So the Nesiv Shalom is very precise in when he gives these explanations, and he goes in deep to be able to explain to us these things. He makes sure to bring it down to our level, and how is it that we can take it practically. So the Nesiv Shalom says that what this is talking about, we know that a Chacham, a Talmud Chacham, right, he is, in a way, it's called Man Malchei Rabbanan, that because of the fact that he is keeping and doing whatever Hashem says, therefore he is considered like a melech over us, because we look at him and we see the shining of his face, the panim me'irot, the lichtig panim that he has because of he's doing these mitzvahs. So therefore, what happens is we will be awe-inspired from him, and then we'll be able to do our mitzvahs, our part better, and therefore we'll look up to him. And he's like a king to us. So therefore, it says, even though we don't have a king now, we still have this mitzvah for the chachamim that are guiding us. So what is it? How can we take? Last I heard of a chacham having a horse or any animal for that matter was many, many years ago. So we don't have many chachamim that have horses now. So how is that translated to nowadays? So the Nesiv Shalom says that we know that in Tehillim it says Lo b'gvor tzazusich patz. It's part of a Pesukei Zimra that we say every day. It's not of the might of the horse that Hashem wants. And below Yar below Sisim is the fact that a person, a king, therefore, let's first go to the source. The king shouldn't put his confidence in horses, weaponry, and all the arms that he needs for war, but he should totally understand and realize that it all comes from Hashem. And then the next thing it says, "V'lo yarba lo nashim." We shouldn't have a lot of women, right? Wives, right? So he shouldn't be with really deepened himself into the desires of a man. Yes, he definitely should have wives. He should have a wife, but it's not. It shouldn't be so much. So therefore, and v'chesav azav lo yarba lo, and also he shouldn't have too much money, also because of the fact that he shouldn't be too high, mighty, feeling that he is better than his fellow brothers of Israel. So now, how can we take this according to a Talmud Chacham? Well, I think the answer is very simple, because the fact that he doesn't have horses, but he still has to realize and understand that the horses is also meaning that he's reliant on something else other than God. So even when the Talmud Chacham is teaching Torah, he has to realize, as much as he knows Torah and as much as he's an eloquent speaker, he has to realize it's all from Hashem, and there's no way that he can be successful in anything that he does without Hashem. So therefore, he should always be boteach b'Hashem. He should always trust in Hashem for whatever he needs. And then, when it comes to wives, I think that's also very simple. We all know that it shouldn't be too much involved. That's why he shouldn't be. He should realize that it says by the amount of times that a husband is intimate with his wife is different for a Talmud Chacham as opposed to a regular Jew like you and I. So therefore, that in itself is to be able to tell us how he should be even holding himself back a little bit. It shouldn't be l'regel, because he's really involved in Torah more than the regular folk. And then kesef v'zav, money, gold and silver. So that's obvious, because if he has too much money, he's he's coming with his Rolls Royce or this and that. So it's really something that the same thing as with the melech. Okay, now it says, now he comes to the Aseh Tov. The Aseh Tov is the part, so till now we said the negative part, the things that he should stay away from, and now he's saying Aseh Tov. And Aseh Tov is the positive part. What should he do? So it says that he should write another Torah. It says that, thank you. So it says that he should write another Torah. So if he's writing another Torah, what does this mean? So it doesn't say another, it says Mishnah. Mishnah means like a copy, okay, in one way to learn it. I think the Radak learns it a little differently, but thank you. So Mishnah Torah is referring to the main shot that we go is that he writes another Sefer Torah. So what does it mean, another Sefer Torah? Because where it comes from the word sheni, which is a second one, right? So where do we see that the first mitzvah, we only see this mitzvah for a melech? And the answer is because every Jew has to have a Sefer Torah. Every Jew has to have a Torah in his house. So therefore, like the ones that can afford it, it's a mitzvah to do so. And that's why it's important to take part in the mitzvah of writing a Sefer Torah. So if we actually did it, even though it's only a small part. But here, that's why the Melech is a second one, because of the fact that the first one, he's a regular Jew. So he already has that one. So that one is going to be with him in his treasury. The king's treasury has a lot of gold and silver and jewels, right? But it also, most importantly, has the Torah. That's what he learns at home. And then he has another one that goes out and in with him wherever he goes places, wherever he is fighting a war, right? We know the Jewish kings go in the front line. They don't. It's not like the modern warfare that the generals stay in back, or the king for sure, the presidents and they for sure don't come, right? In the wars of Hashem that Hashem wants us to do, the king goes in front. So he has to bring that Sefer Torah with him at all times. And therefore, the Yeshiva Shalom goes and explains, what does this mean according to, for a Talmud Chacham? So, very simply, he says that means is there's two different ways of having this behavior that a Talmud Chacham, and really all of us, should have. And one is the way that we have in our private homes, right? And the other way is how we deal with other people. So when we are in our own private homes, it says we learned that from right in the beginning of Shulchan Aruch. The Ramah says, he gives an example that if I know that if I has to be at a certain place to meet the king, there's no way. I'm talking about a king of flesh and blood. There's no way I'm going to miss it, because he can either do good, do bad to me. I'm not going to miss that. So therefore, the same way, when we're talking about Melech Malchi Amlachim, the king of all kings, and that he knows not only he's like a regular king, but better and greater because he's the king of everybody, but on top of that, he knows our thoughts. And which no king of flesh and blood can know. So therefore, if a person would realize that and think about that, then automatically his life, his waking up in the morning, his going out to getting himself dressed, eating, everything will be different. This is what the Ramah says, because this is going to be on his mind, and he's going to be very careful to be in the best proper way, because the king is watching him. Okay, and then there's the second part. What's the second part? How he deals with other people. That means that when a person is going out and doing business, in any way that he's doing business, he should make sure that he's doing it in the most proper way, that he's not stealing from anybody, he's not even being a little bit off in the measurements of what he's selling. Everything has to be according, because many Talmidei Chachamim have been in business as well. Now the Sifra Shalom goes on to say two more explanations of what, and this is very, very important. The Sifra Shalom says that we know in this farm, it says that there are 600 Shishim Riboy Isis LaTorah, that there's 600,000 letters in the Torah, right? And then it says also, just like that, we also have 600,000 neshamot, souls. That means, of course, we have many more Jews, but you and I and 3 or 4 or 5, 10 other people can have the same neshama, because it's too hard for us to do that job of that neshama, so we all are doing it together. But there's 600,000 main neshamot, souls of Israel. So, and with just like we have 600,000 letters in the Torah, so too the neshamot of Klal Yisrael, each neshama has its own explanation of the Torah. So just like we know that there's many different ways to explain the Torah, our neshama has one way of explaining it, and it could be different from somebody else's neshama's way to explain it. So what does this mean? So he says that, first of all, how do we, it says there's a concept that nishmas adam telamdenu, that the soul of a person can teach him exactly what he needs to do. So what does that mean? How does a neshama know and what to do and what not to do? And the only way is that he takes that from the explanation that is in the Torah, his own, the neshama's own explanation of the Torah. So therefore, I know, of course I have to ask Das Torah, and therefore I make sure to have a Rav, and we all make sure to have a Rav that is he knows us very well, to be able to tell us what we need, and we know we can feel so open to this Rav to be able to do and say anything that we want to say to, because we feel so comfortable with him, because he knows our background, and then we can ask him if we're not sure what to do, and from there, but it's all part of our neshama, because I have my yearnings of what my neshama wants, and that comes from the Torah that's guiding me. So therefore, when it says that the king should have the one that's inside Beit Gnazav, in his treasure house, he should have that Sefer Torah, that's talking about the Sefer Torah of the neshama, right? That this specific and unique translation and explanation that he has of the Sefer Torah, of the Torah, that for his neshama, it's unique and personalized to him individually. So therefore, that is what we're talking about over here, and that is how the Rabbanan, the Man Malchi Rabbanim, the actual Talmidei Chachamim, right? These scholars that are teaching us that they should be able to have these this way to be able to teach us properly, but how do they do that? So we have it in their homes, in their treasure house, to not, a person cannot go ahead and act one way in his house and act differently. Yeah, he can do it physically. It's the ability is there, but it's not going to come out as well or anywhere near as well if he's really not, echad b'libo echad b'lev. So if he's one, he's actually on the outside he's showing one thing, on the inside he's showing something totally different. It's not gonna work very well for him. Or put it this way, it can work much better if he does it the right way. That's putting it positively. But then he brings this last piece, which is really, really practical words for ourselves. He brings the Gemara in Brachos and Daf Hey. The Gemara in Brachos says, "Imro Adam she'yisurim ba'im alav yifashvish b'ma'asav." If a person sees that he has a lot of troubles, whether it be with his family, with sickness, with any type of thing that he has troubles in, right? So he should go ahead and he should work within himself to find out what is it that he's doing that is making it not good. Some things that he's doing, and the reason why he's getting these things is because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And then the Gemara continues to say, that if he did not find anything, he really looked for it, right, and he didn't find anything, so therefore he should say that it's probably the fact that he wasted his time in not learning Torah. So the obvious question here is, Bitul Torah, nullifying Torah, meaning that you're wasting time and not actually learning Torah when you could be, that in itself is an Aveira. So how could you say that he's looking for the problem that he had and he didn't find, so therefore it must be the fact that he wasted time and didn't learn. So it seems to be an oxymoron. How does that work, right? It's obvious that Bitul Torah, when I waste my time and not learning Torah, I am sinning to Hashem. So the answer to this is that this is a different way. Before I saw this in Siva Shalom, I never learned the Gemara this way. I never understood the Gemara this way. And the Gemara is saying to us something totally different. He's saying that how does one know what I'm doing? How do I know what I'm doing wrong, right? So the fact is that the Zohar HaKadosh says, Man kamoidelei, araisa kamoidelei, moidoalei choyve. That the Zohar is teaching us that the Torah is the one that is teaching us and giving us the guidance of how we know we're doing right or wrong. And therefore, what does this mean? So when you look at the Gemara, and the Gemara says that the Gemara says that we should go ahead and we should search within us and to see if we are doing something wrong. And if we are doing something wrong, we should go ahead and fix it, and then the Yisurim will go away. But if we don't find anything that we did wrong, right, then we should go ahead and say, it's probably the fact that I was wasting time in Torah. So he's explaining it now in a totally different way. That the whole fact that I can know what I'm doing wrong is only revealed to me through the Torah that I'm learning, if I'm learning it, right? So therefore, it says, we say every morning, V'ha'er einenu b'sarasecha, that Hashem should enlighten our eyes to be able to see, right? He should give, us the ability to see from where is it coming from? From the Torah. The Torah is that which brings us the light in the eyes of a Jew, so that therefore, when I am, God forbid, doing a sin, then all of a sudden, what's going to happen? Yisuri Matzpun comes on him. There's a special, it's a guilt that comes upon him, right? The Nasir Shalom says in a different place, says that from Sinai, there is a voice, a heavenly voice that says that we should come back to Hashem. So the obvious question is, I didn't hear it. I haven't heard anybody else that heard it. Of course, we're not on such a high level, but even the people that are not, like us, the people that are much higher level, we haven't heard them say, "Oh yeah, I heard it," or something like that. So what's the purpose? If I don't hear it, then what's the purpose? The answer, one of the answers is the neshama. Our neshama hears it, and therefore that's why sometimes we have this pinta yid, this little spark of a Jew that's coming out and saying to us, we got to do tshuva, we got to do something, we have an inspiration of some sort. And therefore, so this is the same type of thing over here, that the Torah is really what is giving us the ability to be inspired and to realize that there's something wrong. So therefore, if I didn't find, like the Gemara says, I have to look within my deeds and see if I'm doing anything wrong. And if I didn't find, that means, what does that mean? It's like I'm not even learning. Because if I'm not finding, and I have Yisurim, I have troubles, whether it be any type of troubles, whether it's in spirituality, whether it's in physical things, parnasa, whatever it is, right? So that means that even if I was learning, I didn't learn properly. So therefore, that learning that is not proper, it's like I'm making a vessel for the king, and I use really inferior tools to be able to make that vessel. And what's going to happen is going to come out not so nice, and the king is not going to like it. So when I go ahead and use the Torah, I'm learning the Torah, but I'm doing it in a way that's not the proper way. Maybe I'm not giving it the proper respect. Maybe I'm not dressed properly while I am learning the Torah. It could go on and on. The list goes on, right? I'm not doing it the proper holiness. So therefore, what's going to happen? So then, therefore, the Torah is not going to work for us to be able to reveal to us what we're doing wrong. And that's what it means in the pasuk when it says, "V'kara bo kol yemei chayav," that he should read from within it every single day of his life. Sha'Torah shehu lomed ma'amida b'fanav et kol yemei chayav u'megale lo et kol ma she'asa bahem shelo kahogen. That what is it? What's happening over here? That when I learn the Torah properly, the Torah that I'm learning actually brings in front of me all the days of my life and reveals to me whatever I'm doing that's, forget about a sin, but even not proper. And this power, the power that Hashem gave within us to be able to learn the Torah and to have this is so that a person, a Jew, should not stray away from the way that Hashem wants us to go. And that's what the Zohar is saying, that the Oraisa Ko Modah Lei, that the Torah is actually showing him. This is also the same strength that the power that the Talmidei Chachamim have, that if he was learning in the Torah all the days of his life, because then he won't forget of what like maybe deep within his neshama he knows, but it's not going to come to his mind because he wasn't learning the Torah properly. And if he's not learning the Torah properly, it's just not going to be revealed to him. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we should all be zocha, we should all merit to be able to have learning Torah in our proper way, learning Torah in a way that we should be able to do it with purity and with holiness, and to be able to have a very spiritual level and connection with Hashem, not only in Elul but all the way in here. But B'ezrat Hashem, I would if Mashiach comes right now, that would be even better. But we should all have that within ourselves and be ready for an amazing Rosh Hashanah of being coronating the King of all kings. And the way to do that is to take all the mitzvahs seriously, and especially the mitzvah of Torah that will reveal to us whatever we need to know and why we're suffering anything that we're suffering. And there should be no more suffering in all Klal Yisrael. Amen.
Whoa, man.